up, let's take a peek at the Sync4 media screen. This is introduced in the 2022 model year in the Navigator, and it looks phenomenal. But I'm going to take you through all of the different options there to teach you everything that you need to know about it. So, first things first. Along the very top, we've got our current temperatures that we've got set for the driver and for the passenger side. So as you can see there, it's different for the driver-passenger. We've got our clock, which we can press in order to get into our clock settings, which we'll get to in a second. Along the top right-hand side, we've got a little info button there. And what that means is that's essentially going to be, are we connected to Wi-Fi, yes or no? Because the vehicle does have the option for over-the-air updates. You just want to make sure you're connected to a Wi-Fi network at home so that you can get those automatic updates done as well. We've got our outside temperature along the top right-hand side. And then this essentially is going to be the audio tab. So I mean, obviously, as you go through different tabs, you've got this one part that's going to stay regardless. And one of the cool things about this little slider is that we can adjust so we can go up and down for different things. So we've got climate, fuel economy, trip counters, and a number of things. We can press the button along the bottom right to have it show up in a slightly different view as well. And then any one of these views, like we press, or we can slide it across in order to launch into that tab. Same idea, we can go up and down between different things. We've got our climate. We can just do, we can't do a swipe. Oh, of course, we can't do a swipe on everything but the climate on this one. So we go up, fuel economy, is it the same? Yeah, fuel economy is the same way, okay. So certain ones you can do that for. Yeah, there we go. So certain ones you can, other ones you can't. You can just kind of look through different options as you go. It actually is kind of neat though that we've got some flexibility there. But moving back to our main audio screen, series of different things available. So first one, our sources. We can change between AM, FM, SiriusXM, Bluetooth. If we had our phone connected, that would show up as an available option. If we get a USB stick with MP3s, that would show up as an available option. So it's kind of neat. We can easily adjust out which source we're in. We've also got our sound settings, so we can hot button press to get into our tone. So if we want to change out our treble, mid-range, bass, it was pretty deep sound as is, but typically something like this, treble down a bit, bass up a bit, is going to give you really good quality sound. We can change out the balance and fade. So if you're the only one in the vehicle, you're going to want to be there. More immersive experience, go into the center, back out. We've also got a series of other options. So we've got our stereo versus on stage versus our audience mode. So a few different options, essentially going to be for a more immersive experience. We've also got our speed compensated volume. So as we go faster, slower, whatever the case may be, it's automatically going to adjust the volume, raising and lowering as necessary. We've got our Revel audio experience, so we can hear what this thing sounds like, which is kind of neat. We've got a few different options, so we can direct tune that way if we want to. So we just type in a station, enter, so we can tune that way if we want to. We've got a tuning rocker a little bit further down the center stack as well. We can also plus minus this way. We can jump between all different presets, and then if you don't have a preset saved, all we do, press and hold. So you can see there, it's updated it. So it's a quick changeover in order to be able to adjust as necessary. Like you saw there, really, really simple. But I mean, so many good options and so many simple options that are available inside of this. Now, one cool thing, if we go to SiriusXM next, so many more options. So we've got our different sources again. We can jump back into this screen. We can go into browse so we can see all the different categories that are available. So as we go through different stations, it's going to be for you. So what stations are you listening to the most? Moving back, we've also got this little notification icon, so we can manage it, but if either the song or the artist come on, we can have it so that, I should say artist or the song comes on, it's going to let us know, and we can click in order to be able to listen as we go. We've got some listener settings there as well, so we've got some bass sound settings, which you saw that a second ago. We've also got our current subscription. With the 2022 Lincoln, you do get 3 months of included service there. If you've got an existing system, all you're going to do is just go to your subscription, manage, and you can call up SiriusXM, and they'll be able to transfer out for you. We can create a listener. So if you've got multiple people in the vehicle, we can create a listener profile. So we can have all of our different SiriusXM settings set up for that individual profile. And that would cover off our listening history, settings, help and support, and a number of other things. We do have preset pages there, and I always recommend just go for the max number of presets. So it's going to be 5 pages, and the reason why, updates in a second. We go back home, and all of a sudden, we've got 30 individual presets. And as you can see there, it's a mix of AM, FM, SiriusXM. We've got some related content as well, so we can see what's related to what we're listening to right now. We can change out stations this way. We can pause if we want to because it's live. or we can go back and forth as well. So it's kind of neat that we've got that flexibility. But I mean, if you're a heavy SiriusXM user, definitely useful to give yourself a little bit of a brush up there. Next up, we've got a phone. So currently no phone's connected, and it's very straightforward to be able to add a phone into this thing. So what we're going to do is, firstly, hit add phone.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
And we're waiting for Navigator to show up.
Confirm that the pin displayed on Sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Pins match up as well. Do we want to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? I'm going to say don't allow for now, but obviously if it's your vehicle, you want to make sure you sync those things up. So it's successfully paired.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
Thank you, car. So a few other options. 911 Assist I always recommend turning on. When you've got your phone connected and if you're ever in a serious accident, it's automatically going to dial 911 for us. It's a phenomenal system. Hit finish there, and we're connected, but I've got another message that's popping up. Do I want to allow CarPlay with the Navigator? Because we're wireless now, which is amazing. That's new for the 21 the 22. In the 21, it was just a wired connection instead. So it does support it. So do we want to allow CarPlay with the Navigator? Yeah, we want to do that. All we have to do is enable, and it'll take a second there. 3, 2, and we are connected. I love it. I love that we've got this thing connected. Now, one thing, we can't be full screen inside of this, unfortunately. This is as big as the screen's going to get, but it does take up quite a little bit of real estate, which is really nice. We've got Apple Maps, we've got Google Maps, and we've got Waze. So, I mean, yeah, do we have factory navigation? Yes, but if you're a bigger fan of using one of these other map applications, you've got that as an available option as well, which is fantastic. We've got your phone, we've got music. As I mentioned, we've got Apple Maps. Nice and responsive there. Can we do pinch? Nope, no pinch to zoom on Apple Maps, but we can change out, so 2D, 3D, whatever the case may be. We can search, look for different destinations there as well. We'll press this button to go back to the main screen. And Google Maps, Waze are all going to work the same. So we've got that nice zoom capability there, nice and responsive, which is great. If you're a podcast listener, you've got your podcasts that are available. You can browse, you can look at your library. Moving back home, we've got audiobooks and so many other options, which is kind of neat. But if you're a fan of maybe Google Maps or Apple Maps first, you've got some flexibility. So on your phone, if you jump into your general settings, you can go to CarPlay, look for the vehicle, you can forget it, you can toggle CarPlay off, or you can customize the launcher. So if you're a big fan of listening to your podcasts and you really love Google Maps, you've got the flexibility of bringing those front and center. If you're never going to listen to audiobooks or you don't want the calendar there, we can also delete them. They do store at the very bottom, so we could add them back in if we want to. We can drag to move it around. Or if you don't like the layout, we can just hit reset, reset layout, and 3, 2, 1, it's reset the layout back to this factory default instead. So we've got that option. We can swipe across, as you saw there, for multiple screens. So we've got our navigation. We've also got these different modes. We've got podcasts. We've got the calendar there. And one of the cool things with the phone connected, we can press the voice command prompt on the steering wheel if we want to activate our Siri Assistant instead. So we've got that flexibility, which is fantastic. Single button press will bring up the regular sync manager there instead. We actually have to do a longer press and hold in order to be able to activate the Siri Assistant there. So second hold in order to activate it, but it is available there as an option. Now, because the phone's connected, we button press there again, it does nothing. But we can press phone list now along the very top to get us into the phone. So we can log in there, or push through there, I should say. We can disable CarPlay, we can connect to Bluetooth again, or we can go into our phone settings. So in our phone settings, we can't see anything, it's all grayed out because we're technically connected to CarPlay and not our Bluetooth. So we go connect, we're going to disconnect from CarPlay. And it's reconnecting obviously to the phone for media. We hop back inside, go to our settings, and now we can manage contacts. Oh yeah, so the reason why that said download is because I didn't give it the option of being able to do it. But we can manage contacts, we can set ringtones, we've got our roaming warning and a few other things. You can also trash the phone along the very top, so we can easily remove the phone if we want to. I'm just going to keep it connected because I want to show you how to set up an Android as well, and I'm going to give you one option when we do that. But that's how we can connect an iPhone and set up Apple CarPlay inside of the 2022 Navigator. Now, setting up an Android device is the exact same process. Really straightforward, so let's dive into it. So what we're going to do, if you're not on the screen, let's say you're on the audio screen or any other one, all we're going to do is go to phone, or we can also go to our settings there, but we're connected to this main phone now. So We can't really swipe across or do anything, so we go to our settings. We've got our phone list. And then we can add a phone in if we want to.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
And we're just waiting for, perfect, I love it. Honestly, on the Android Auto side of things, this is brand new. Like it came in, I think, a month or so ago, but way easier to connect. Do we want to allow contacts? Yes, no, I'm going to skip it for now. I'm going to skip multimedia, so SMS messages. Okay, device is set up. So
for your safety,
we can set up from there.
Please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
Thank you, car. So we're fully connected there, and very similar to what we saw on the iPhone side. It's now supporting wireless Android Auto, so don't need to be connected wired anymore. The phone, if it supports wireless charging, we've got a wireless charging pad that we can use inside of this thing as well. So we're just going to go enable. Perfect. And it's saying continue setup on your car screen, so we're just going to continue there. We can exit the setup. I mean, what was that, 2 seconds? And we're fully connected. And very similar to the Apple side, so we can't go full screen there, but we're at least fairly full screen, which is nice. We've got our Google Maps there. We've got our settings, so we can see our traffic, route guidance options, things like that. We can exit out. We button press there in order to get into our podcasts, back to our music again, or back to our maps again. We can skip, play, pause. We've got our music there as well, so our media picks. We've got our notification center and our Google Assistant. So we've got the option of pressing our Google Assistant there. We can also do a long press and hold on the steering wheel to have it show up. But as you can see there, it's straightforward. Now, if we push this little button, so just next to where that podcast versus map button is, we push this little guy, that brings us to the main screen. And I love it because we've now got Waze supported as an option inside of this. It's the same on Sync4 now for some vehicles. Waze is available as an option there. So we've either got Waze, which, so I do need to log into Waze in order to make it happen, but Waze is now available, which is phenomenal. Oh, wrong button. And button press to get back. We do at least have our Google Maps without having to log into Waze there, but it is available as an option, which again is phenomenal. But so many different options available. Not quite as many as we saw on the Apple side of things, but it still is nice to know that we've at least got a little bit of flexibility. So if you're an Android user, you've got that option. If we search for Android Auto on our phone, we go into our Android Auto settings. We can see our previously connected cars. We've got our Google detection if it's available. We've also got our Android Auto while the phone's locked. We've got our weather. We can disable wireless Android Auto as well. And a few other things that are available there. We've also got our customizable launcher. So very similar to the Apple side of things, we could just do a drag around if we want to be able to update things, but it's not dynamic. We actually have to disconnect and then reconnect both on the phone and on the vehicle in order for any changes we make in the customizable launcher to show up there. It still is available as an option though, but it's just not dynamic the same way it is on the Apple CarPlay side. So that's one thing I absolutely wish that Android would get it together essentially and make it so that it's a dynamic update instead, but it's at least available as an option. But that's the basics, like that's setting up Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So you can see there, very, very straightforward to be able to do. We jump back into our settings in our phone list. We've got both phones connected. So we can easily disable Android Auto. We can reconnect to our media there instead if we want to go that route. And a few seconds, and as you can see there, we're reconnected. Now if we go to our phone settings, we've got the option for favorite phone. So if we've got multiple phones connected to the vehicle, we can select which one we'd like there. So if we want to go one way or the other, we've got that as an available option. So it's essentially who gets connection priority. So if you've got 2 or 3 phones connected, whose phone is it going to connect to first? We can manage our contacts there as well, set ringtones and things like that. And then we can press the delete button in order to be able to delete the phone from the vehicle. As you can see, very simple. And then it's connecting to the other phone again. 3, 2, and 1. So it's that easy setting up Android Auto and Apple CarPlay inside of the vehicle. All right, so as you saw there, setting up a phone is easy. Next up, we're going to move into our navigation. But actually, you know what? I left that iPhone set up for a reason. And the reason why, we go into audio, we go into sources. Live One is a radio app that I've got installed on the phone. And then we can also access any audio that we've got on the phone. So certain apps will show up this way, just depending on which apps you've got, I should say. But one thing to think about, YouTube Music, we can stream it over Bluetooth, but we can't play YouTube directly through this middle screen, unfortunately. So I wish that was available as an option, but unfortunately it's not. It's essentially what we're looking at here, but it still does look fairly nice. So a few different options that are available. But we can jump back into our phone there again if we want to. Recent calls, we go into our phone list, hop inside, delete, yes, 3, 2, 1, and both phones are now fully disconnected and removed from the vehicle. Next up, moving into our navigation, so we do have Factory Nav, and Factory Nav has the option of going full screen. So really big, nice, beautiful look, which is fantastic. We can, if we want to go back to that split screen instead, we can do that. We can see exactly where we are right now. So current location, we've got our GPS coordinates. We can save our location as well. We hit this in order to get into our menu. So we can change our map orientation, our voice. So whenever we have an upcoming turn, do we want voice and tones? Voice, tones, there's a few different options. Do we want to show traffic on the map? Do we want to show weather on the map? Do we want to avoid certain things on the route? So things like highways, toll roads, ferries, things like that. Do we want to show things like our point of interest icons like ATMs, coffee, rest areas, etc.? And we've got more advanced settings. So we've got our routing and map preferences. So do we want to show HOV lanes? Do we want to allow dynamic rerouting when there's a fastest route available? Do we want the fastest or the most eco-friendly route? Breadcrumbs is a neat one because as we go through different places, it's going to drop breadcrumbs all throughout. So I want you to think Hansel and Gretel. So as we move to different spots, it's going to literally drop a breadcrumb and let us know exactly where we've been, which is kind of neat. And routing map preferences, yeah, that was it for this one. We've got our alert preferences as we go through different options there. We've got our predictive destinations, privacy, and then our about as well. And that's going to be the basics of the settings. Searching is really straightforward as well. So we can show our recents, we've got saved, we can show gas stations, parking, attractions, hotels, Lincoln dealerships, so many things. We've also got the flexibility of searching all of our previously saved destinations, which is great. We would have the flexibility of typing in GPS coordinates. So if you don't have the actual address, but you've at least got the coordinates, you've got the flexibility of using it there as well. So let's just, for sake of making this easy, go to a previous destination. Canadian, we got to do it. If your phone is connected with a phone number available, inside of the map there, we would be able to call. We can save it as a favorite if we want to, or we can also have it navigate to parking as we go, which is kind of neat. So we can see where we can park close by. So it's kind of neat that we've got that option. We can include 4x4 routes if we want to. Across the side, we've got this little split button, which is going to give us different options for routes. So we can choose one route over the other if we'd like to. Pressing back brings us to a few other options, so we can see how far the route is. We can circle in or out, or we can bring this whole thing out to go full screen there instead. Moving back again, brings us back to the main screen. We can see our recently viewed destinations. We can save look at our favorite destinations, so save up multiples if we'd like to. One of the benefits of setting up a home and work address is that if we press the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, we can say things like navigate home, navigate to work, or whatever the case may be, and it's automatically going to set up the map for whatever address we have saved here, which is kind of nice. But that's the basics of using factory navigation inside of this thing, so really straightforward. Next up, we've got our favorite button down there. And favorite button lets us set up a button to kind of do whatever we'd like it to do here. So we've got a few different options available. So let's say if you wanted a hot button press for your sound settings, it saved it there. So we move off, we go to our sound settings now, and all of a sudden it's a hot button press to get to our sound. We can edit it out to be a few different things. So we want our phone list, we want our audio sources, driver assistant settings. So we've got a series of different options that are available. It's going to be based off of what do you want that button to do, but you've got some flexibility there. Moving into our apps, we've got a series of other options. So you saw there, we've got our Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Obviously, we're not connected to either one. And we've got a series of different settings, like so many settings, but you've seen some of these. We've got our radio. So we've got our radio preset pages, radio text, etc. We can add in a phone. We've got our sync navigation, which we've seen all of these already. We've got our sound settings, which we've already seen as well. Some additional vehicle settings. So we've got our 30-minute max idle, rear occupant alert. If we drive and turn the vehicle off, we're going to get a message on the screen letting us know to check the back seats. We've got our key detection alert. So does it recognize other keys nearby? Yes or no? Easy entry exit with this on means that the seat's going to lower and back up in order for us to get in and out of the vehicle a little bit easier. And we've got our My Key setting. So we've got the flexibility of customizing a key fob to do certain things. And when I say certain things, I mean, if you're lending your vehicle out to a kid and you don't want your kid to go past a certain speed, you can set that up here if you'd like to. So there are a ton of different options that are available. You can have it so the radio can't go past a certain volume as well. It's kind of neat. We've got our My Key settings, as I showed you there. We've got our onboard serial number, our alarm system, remote start setup. So we do have remote start on the key fob, but we have the flexibility of turning the whole system off. And then we can also remote start on our cell phone using the Lincoln Way app. But if we go to remote start, what happens? Do we want the vehicle to determine the cabin temperature, or is it based off of the last settings we had when the vehicle was turned off? Same idea with our seats and steering wheel. Do we want to let the vehicle have those things come on automatically or not? Do we want this thing to last for 5, 10, or 15 minutes as well? And back out, we've got our wipers. So we've got our courtesy wipe. What that means is that the wipers are going to go through the cycle. At the end of the cycle, if it's turned on, it's going to go one more time to get rid of any excess liquid. Rain sensing wipers, yes, no. Our rear wiper in reverse. So if we've got our forward wipers going and we throw the vehicle into reverse, our rear wiper is also going to come on. It's kind of neat. And we've got our power liftgate, which we can turn it off if we want to. We can get rid of the hands-free if we'd like. We can turn it to manual or have the power there instead. And we've got our lighting there. So series of options, glare-free lighting on the outside, welcome lighting to welcome us into the vehicle. When we go to lock the vehicle for our lamps, do they just turn off, or do they stay on for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or 120 seconds? And we've got options for mirrors there. So do we want the mirrors to auto fold when we go to lock the vehicle? Door keypad code. So we do have a 5-digit number we can enter on the outside of the vehicle. We can also set up a unique 5-digit one as well. So we have to enter the 5-digit factory code first, and then we can enter our own unique ones if we'd like to. And I think that may have been it outside of the backup start password. So that one's all based off of having our phone set up, and phone is a key. So if you don't actually have the key fob on us, you don't need to, because you set up the Lincoln Way app, and then you'd have the flexibility of, through the Lincoln Way app, setting up phone as a key. So rather than having your key fob on you, you just need your cell phone. You walk up, you can unlock, start the vehicle up, etc. If for whatever reason your cell phone dies, all you have to do is enter the 5-digit number to get into the vehicle, and then you'd enter in your backup start password in order to be able to start the thing up. So it's kind of neat. That's everything about the vehicle settings. Clock, pretty straightforward. Change hours, minutes, AM, PM, 24-hour mode. Auto time update based off of our location. Personal profiles, you can create unique profiles for individual drivers. So it's going to remember so many things. Your personal assistant settings, your navigation, phone, audio, everything will be remembered based off of profiles. So if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, I definitely recommend setting up unique profiles for each individual driver. It is really, really useful to be able to do that. Moving into some general settings. Do we want English, Spanish, French, Celsius, Fahrenheit, kilometers, liters per 100, miles per gallon, etc.? The beeping that we get there, if that drives you nuts, you can turn it off. We can do a reset as well. So we can reset the Lincoln Connect or our master reset to bring us back to our factory defaults there instead. Shooting across the next screen, we've got options for display. So when it's big, as bright, as beautiful as this thing is, if you find it a bit too much, we can turn the whole display off if we want to. Button press to bring it back to life. We can turn it into a calming screen instead. Button press again. We can adjust the brightness, or we can adjust the mode. So this technically is the daytime mode, but we can flip it between daytime or nighttime and lock it on permanently if we want to. Or we just do auto, and the vehicle's automatically going to determine which mode it is, just based off of how bright it is outside. So it should take a second there, and you saw it lighten up a little bit there. So we've got a few options available. Next up, we've got our seats. Massage seats. So nice. Like, it is amazing that we've got this available as an option now. So relax, recovery, etc. for the driver passenger. And one of the amazing things is that we've even got massage chair seats for the second row, which is fantastic. But we can't adjust that for the first row here. We have to actually be in the second row to be able to adjust it. But it is nice we've got that as an available option. And then, I got to do it. Like, it's so nice. Pulse, we can change it, the intensity of it. So we've got so many different options that are available there. But if you're going on distance trips, having this thing on, really, really nice. We can toggle it off, and we've got so many ways that we can adjust the seats. Like, all of the toggles are on the left-hand side of the driver's seat, right-hand side for the passenger, on the actual door, sorry, not on the seat. But we can adjust individual components of the seat as well. So we can adjust individual parts of the upper backrest, the lower backrest. We can have this thing hug the body a little bit more as well if we want. We can adjust each individual leg cushion to bring it in. Like, there are so many options to customize this. And one of the cool things, it's saved there as well, which is fantastic, and that's all tied into the user profiles. So if you've got a unique profile set up for your seat, it'll remember it. Connectivity. So we've got connected vehicle features and things like that. I definitely recommend connecting to a Wi-Fi network at home, and the reason why is because it's tied into our system updates. So if there's an update available, it's automatically going to update the system for us, and we can even schedule the update. So if you know you're not going to be using your vehicle at 4 o'clock in the morning, actually I'd probably go earlier, like 1 or 2, and the reason why is because it might take 3 or 4 hours for it to download and install. It's a little bit of a time-intensive process if you have it done, but I do recommend always make sure you have the, I'm not connected to Bluetooth, that's why, or Wi-Fi I should say. But I definitely recommend connecting to Wi-Fi and having those system updates turned on just so that your vehicle is the most up to date. So that's straightforward there. We've got our mobile apps, again with those system updates, and then our personal assistant. So, series of options, because we could press this in order to be able to adjust this if we'd like to, but we can also have it listen for a wake word instead. So rather than pushing the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, we can have it listen for any one of these. So if we now say, "Okay, Lincoln," we've got the voice command prompt that shows up there instead. But there are so many different options, like it's ridiculous. So we press the voice command prompt, and that just gives us like a small amount of what we can do. We can change the temperature inside this thing. We can navigate using our voice, change radio stations, make phone calls. There are so many things. You can toggle the command list on or off. You can turn on an advanced mode, which means we won't get as many notifications. But this is where you want to be at first. So as you can see there, so many options with what we can do. We can adjust our climate. We can change up the media. We can do so many things using our voice. And then because this is a more advanced setting, rather than pressing the voice command prompt, we can just have it listen for a wake word instead. So it is nice that we've got that as an available option now. We've got some ambient lights, and that's going to show up just in different parts of the vehicle. It's not going to be viewable right now because it is a little bit bright outside, but we've got some things in our footwell lining, or footwells. Oh, actually, you can see it there. I'm going to take some B-roll for you to show you, but it'll show there. So we can choose out the different color and then the intensity of the color as well. So we've got some different options available. Moving back, and we've got a few more things. 911 assist, which I also showed you earlier. So we have to have a phone connected there. It's going to automatically dial 911 if we're in a serious accident. And then we've got our valet mode. So we enter in a 4-digit number, so something nice and difficult. Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4. But as you can see, it locks the whole screen out. So you can't do anything until you enter that 4-digit number again. But it's amazing. It's so simple and so nice that we've got that as an available option. We've got some features now. So series of features available. So some things for driver assistance. Traction control on off. We've got 3 different types of cruise control. So we've got our normal cruise, adaptive cruise, lane centering, hands free. So nice. We've got our activation prompts as well as speed sign recognition. We've got our speed limit assist, so we can get a warning and a tolerance level as well. So whether or not we get a warning based off of our speed if we're going too fast. We've got some options for, lane keeping system. Haha. So 3 different modes that are available. We've either got the alert, which is going to give us a little bit of a steering wheel shake, the aid, which is going to recenter us back into our lane, or the alert and the aid, which will do a mixture of both. Next up, we've also got our lane keeping intensity. So that's the intensity of the steering wheel shake. So is it a high, normal, or a low shake? Back from there, we've got a series of other things. So pre-collision assist. Do we want to have automatic braking? So if the vehicle senses a potential collision, it'll brake for us. Evasive steering essentially turns the vehicle into like a hyperdrive mode. And then we've got the sensitivity as well. So the evasive steering, so if it senses potential collision, you can get out of the way of a potential collision a little bit easier. That is a manual process. Back from there, we've got our rear view camera. So a few different options for our aids. We can turn on our delay there as well if we'd like. Our blind spot system, so that lets us know if anybody's entered the blind spot on either side of the vehicle. It's going to highlight orange and let us know. We've got our hill descent control, cross traffic alert. If we're backing up, and somebody's coming perpendicular, so from the left to the right side, it's going to let us know of a potential collision. As we go to back up, if there's an obstacle there, it's automatically going to brake for us. Driver alert is tied into the lane keeping system. So if we get too many warnings because we're veering over without signaling, it's going to tell us eventually that we should probably take a break. So great safety settings that are available here. Running boards, we've got a few options. So we can either have it so that the running boards are off, so they're always up, they're always out, or it's automatically going to happen. So it's based off of we're getting in and out of the vehicle, etc. Will they automatically come down if the vehicle senses that we're coming towards the vehicle with the key fob on us? Towing options available now. I love this. We've got our connection checklist, so it literally walks you through the connection process to make sure you're setting yourself up properly. We can add in our trailer. We can manage connected trailers. We've got our trailer notifications, our tow haul mode as well, so automatically adjust that, and our sway control. So if the vehicle senses that there's engine sway or trailer sway going on, it's automatically going to apply braking to get that sway under control. We've also got a fully digital owner's manual, which is so neat. So it's going to take a second to load up there. So if you ever get any weird messages in the cluster screen, you want to know what's going on with setting yourself up for maintenance and things like that, this is going to go through all the basics. We've got some options for categories, so vehicle care and maintenance, instrument panel, and a series of other things that are available. So it is nice we've got that as an option. We've got visual, languages, and a few other things. So quite a few different options. Oh, that's the last one. So quite a few different options that are available inside this media screen. So the Sync4 media screen inside of the Navigator is pretty dang cool, right? I love all of the available options. Wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay are phenomenal. But if you ran into any problems, if you have any questions, drop down in the comment section below and let me know. More than willing to talk you through any issues that you might be having. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your social networks, and until I see you next time, take care.